Employers of Reddit, what jobs are you finding to be impossible to fill? The company I work for has been trying to fill a dispatcher position for over a year and a half now. Part-time, evening shift. They're not offering competitive pay, and everyone is suffering for it. Trying to get someone for $1 over minimum wage, for a job that should start a good $5 to $7 per hour more is painful to watch. They're either incompetent, or realize really quickly what the job entails and book it out of here. Not an employer, but my hospital has a hard time finding nursing assistants. Who knew it would be hard to find people willing to wipe asses for not much pay? While more and more people are realizing how awesome getting into coding/programming can be, there seems to be a significant lack of individuals who are capable of critical thinking on top of programming. You'd think the two go hand in hand. They don't. It's just like the saturated graphic design market. Shitloads of people who are capable of using the programs, but haven't a single creative or critical thinking bone in their body. Construction manager here. The demand for construction is here, but the workers left during the recession and don't want to come back to repeat history. I'm in this boat. Worked for 12 years as a carpenter. Loved it. Work fell off in 2009. Held on as long as I could. Lost my business and house. Gained 2 kids. Went back to school in 2011 to support the fam. Now I work in IT. No way I'm giving up this salary and benefits. I miss construction so badly though. People to work in nursing homes, PT, OT, kitchen, nursing. Big portion is nursing staff. I don't know if it's just the company that's having issues. 2 of our facilities are having staffing issues, but we are constantly understaffed and getting overworked, to the point where more people are leaving because they are overworked. Management keeps saying, no one is applying, but I don't think they're offering people enough to stay/want to work there. Edit. Jesus. People, I was just blowing off steam from being overworked. I'm just a student nurse working as a CNA until I graduate and become an RN. Yes, I know I make shit pay for everything I have to do. Yes, I know the facilities are super expensive to live in, and I know that money doesn't go directly to the staff. Yes, I know that some facilities don't give a shit about their residents, and ST wasn't mentioned because we're fully staffed in that department. There's 4 of them by the way, so don't give me that sass. And yes, I am still in the process of trying to leave to work as an actual student nurse in a hospital. Yep. CNA here. Caregiving jobs are one of the most underpaid professions for what we do. They are understaffed at almost every facility I've ever seen. We have a ducking demanding job. Physically, mentally, emotionally. We wipe ass, clean up vomit and shit, get physically and verbally assaulted. We run ourselves ragged on huge assignments, barely get 2 minutes to go to the bathroom, or sometimes not at all. We get close with our residents and patients, and we bathe them and hold their hands and laugh with them. We are with them when they have birthdays, and when they are sick, and when they die. We become their family when they have none. These should not be barely above minimum wage paying jobs, but they are. The only way to get good workers to come in and stay is to pay them what they deserve. Base level security officer. You need a clean record, to be over 18, and a GED/high school diploma, or to be in high school. Paying more than minimum wage for a job that requires less work than most minimum wage jobs. Edit. A lot of comments about pay. For security, the company doesn't decide on pay, the client does. If the client wants a $10 per hour guard, that's what he pay, and that'll be what they get. If they want better, they pay better. Louisville, Kentucky is a foodie paradise. But there is currently a shortage of restaurant workers. One restaurant group spokesman was in the newspaper as saying something like, "My line cooks can make $17, and I don't have a shortage of workers." Maybe these businesses complaining should take a look at their low wages? I literally went to his restaurant because of that quote. I support common sense. I need someone with the wisdom of a 50-year-old, the experience of a 40-year-old, the drive of a 30-year-old, and the pay scale of a 20-year-old. Also, 25 years experience for an entry-level position that will require 17 obscure certificates. a security clearance that we will not sponsor, and a lie detector test. Edit. I have too many applications. I also require 10 years experience on a technology that's only been out for 3 years. At my hotel, housekeeping. No one wants to clean up after the nastiest animals on the planet. Plenty of hours and reliable work to be had, but no one wants to do it. They should be paid more, I guess. Or people could just be less disgusting. Anyone want to be a school bus driver? But do you have a valid CDL? Any DUIs? Criminal record? Oh, okay, never mind. Literally anyone, please. I worked as a school bus driver in a Midwestern state. Got paid just over $100 per day and worked about 5 hours a day total. Sounds pretty great, but you only work 180 days per year. The strip mall down the street from my work is having trouble hiring security guards who don't sell drugs. I would like to be a security guard. Great, but you can't sell drugs. Duck that noise. Despite what employers will say, all jobs are fillable if you pay enough money. There was a CEO a few years ago who wrote complaining that they could not hire welders, and turns out they were offering $20 per hour. I'm a believer that in this globalized world with massive availability of education, there is no such thing as a shortage of workers. It's just that the pay isn't enough for the job conditions. Sometimes wage expectations go up, and businesses need to deal with that, or they won't be able to operate. My former landlady works in HR for a recruiting firm. She found, on multiple occasions, that she had to hire people whose interviews were train wrecks and had huge red flags, large gaps in work history, talking like 6 to 10 years, no kids, as well as one that had a major problem with a former employer. All because they were fluently bilingual in English and French. These were mainly call center type jobs, sales development type things. Not the funniest work, but if you speak French, and you need a job, you can find one in Southern Ontario. Truck drivers. Most of the people on the road are in their 50s to 60s. They are starting to retire or die. It's even hard to find contract drivers to help on busy delivery days. Edit. Just because billion-dollar trucking companies might get automated in the next 20 years, doesn't mean most companies can or will. That doesn't even touch on the inevitable regulations by the DOT, which will almost certainly require a human behind the wheel in case of an emergency. On top of that, you'll have a CDL even if automation does take over. That alone will net you decent paying jobs, relative to other jobs that don't require a college degree. It's mainly because the hours are long, the trips are long, and it's a pretty dangerous job. Young people see that and avoid it. Yeah, tell most of these jobs you're a felon, and watch them glaze over. Doesn't matter how back on track your life is. Sometimes doesn't matter how long it's been. I'm employed by a small business, simply because nobody else wanted me. The upside? My employer has me on his side through and through. There's something to be said for a guy that hears me out, doesn't judge, and offers me a job. Does it pay the best? No. However, it pays enough to help me keep building my life. It's flexible, and doesn't demand the friggin' universe out of me while paying jack shit. Looking at you. Food service. You want good candidates? Sometimes, just maybe, good people have skeletons. One big problem, and I see it echoed in this thread, is that employers don't want to train. Companies just don't want to invest in their workers anymore. They only want to hire experienced workers. They don't want to apprentice, and if they do, they don't want to pay for it. They expect colleges to do all of this for them. What I've found is that college can't fulfill this role, even though colleges sell themselves as if they can. College can only teach you basic hard and maybe some soft skills that can maybe get one's foot in the door. If employers want good employees that will stick around, employers need to be willing to train and pay employees well, even in training, and not dole out crazy or unrealistic workloads, or an otherwise toxic environment. Training will make them good, specific to your industry and company, and the pay and positive work environment will help them stay. My valet company is having an incredibly hard time filling supervisor positions at locations at Oslo, and you don't do anything for 12 hours. $15 per hour. Though, part of the reason why it's hard is because they want these people to be educated. People get educated so they don't have to work as a valet super for $15 per hour. They call them unicorns for a reason, but people with both programming plus design skills. They're rare and few between, but it's pretty much an instant hire if you have both. They really help bridge the gap between developer/design teams, and are almost always in demand. People laughed when I double majored in computer science and fine art, but it's opened a lot of doors. In New Zealand, we have a huge shortage of competent, qualified carpenters, and heavy truck drivers. Funny that it's the older types of trades, it's like they've fallen out of fashion. The company I work for is emo raging employees. We caption phone calls for people who have lost their hearing. It requires 2 weeks of training, honestly it should be 3, and it's a skill that doesn't come easy, but nearly everyone is capable of picking it up. We sit in cubicles and don't interact with anyone, just listen and caption. They'll take basically anyone over 18. It was a good job when I started a few years ago. The times between calls were enough to study or browse the internet. The pay was pretty fair. Now the idle times have fallen dramatically, and the pay hasn't changed at all. Meanwhile, similar call center jobs are paying more just to read from a script. People quickly get burnt out and quit. The department in charge of scheduling is a mess. It's mismanaged to hell, and the employees are even more overworked than the captioners. Interactions with them can be shady as hell, and they're known to go back on their word about time off and schedule changes. They did an employee morale survey just yesterday, and I tore them apart. My sister worked here too, for over a year and quit today after being very honest in her own survey. As a night shift employee, my pay is higher, and my workload is less, so I'm still doing okay here and I actually like my job. But the day shift is a joke, and they'll have to change real quick if they want to continue. As it is, they completely deserve to be struggling like this. I'm not an employer, but I work in the agriculture industry, mostly in packing facilities as an inspector. They never have enough labor. They are always hiring no matter who you are. They don't drug test, and it's damn near impossible to get fired, unless you duck up really bad. Like getting in a physical confrontation with a supervisor bad. And even then, the same people will be back next year. 10 plus years a headhunter here. If the job pays less than $15 an hour, it will be hard to find talent that will accept at that pay rate and not have red flags, like large unexplained gaps in employment, major spelling errors on resume/applications, or even cursing in the interview with me. Seriously, not appropriate for any industry. Once you can pay about $35k plus, the talent pool starts to open up significantly, and you can start seeing more stable work history, good communication skills, and brick and mortar college degrees. TLDR, low-paying jobs are tough to hire for, and applicants applying to them don't care much. Those roles are abundant and easy to get since no one else applies. Basic retail person for a specialty chocolate shop. I am just baffled at how hard it is to get someone for this job. We pay more than most retail jobs in the area. It's the easiest retail job I've ever worked. Customers are 90% nice because who gets bishy about chocolate? We'll teach you everything. You get to dip things in chocolate and make fudge and take home mistakes. We give you free chocolate. I can't even get people into interview. Out of 20 calls I made last week, been trying to hire since March, 5 were wrong number/out of order. 10 were voicemails that never called back, and 5 were interviews that just never showed up. It's been months of this. What the duck?